Divine Message 61. Year of the Dragon, 1928. Abstaining from false speech. Why is false speech forbidden? I have said that for each mundane body, I have assigned a spirit to guard your living essence. I believe you already understand that this spirit is impartial and has the ability to communicate with all the deities, saints, immortals, Buddhas, and perfect beings in the Jade Void Palace. It meticulously records all actions, both good and bad, and presents them to the judgment court, ensuring that nothing escapes notice and all bad or good deeds are accounted for. Moreover, these spirits, with their divine nature, do not only protect you, but also guide and teach you. What the world often calls confused conscience. Therefore, the wise and the saints say, to have contempt for humanity is to have contempt for the heart. To bear punishment from heaven there is no place to escape. When you speak falsely, you are not only deceiving others, but also betraying your own conscience, which is the spirit. I have said that the spirit submits to the court of judgment your words, even if those words are not matched by deeds. The punishment is still of the same nature. In the court of judgment, no words are deemed insignificant or disregarded. Therefore, I instruct you to be cautious in speech and behavior. It is better for you to commit a sin and endure the punishment for it, than to speak of a sin and face the same severe judgment. Remember this well. Ascend. Divine Message 62. Year of the Earth Horse, February 10th, 1929. Master, my children, the days and months continue to pass slowly, and the path of the way still seems long and endless. Each spring that comes is another mile to travel, and when I look back at the path of my disciples, I still see a slow progress, without much sign of advancement. After the year of the tiger comes the year of the cat, and following that the year of the dragon arrives and the year of the snake departs. Spring changes to spring again, and one year follows another. While the light of enlightenment is diligently guiding us, when I look at the conduct of each of my disciples, I find that the way nature is still lacking, and virtue has not increased. The spirit and resolve are wearied on the straightforward path, while nurturing of the evil way, fearing that the grand spiritual foundation may become unstable. Moreover, if you continue to compete and conflict with each other, it could lead to the disintegration of the way. The way still harbors falsehoods, and people are still obsessed with wealth and fame, so how can one cure the illness of the way completely? I am also deeply pained, but I cannot make any corrections. I have entrusted the great responsibility to each trustworthy individual. If they do not handle matters properly, then evil will invade. Spring has passed and spring comes again, yet the spring of human life is nearing its end, while the spring of heaven and earth and the land is not necessarily endless. Children, if you understand the hardships of life, if you comprehend the suffering of circumstances, if you accept shortcomings in the pursuit of gain and fame, if you know to sacrifice yourself for others, if you are willing to bear burdens for the happiness of others, if you endure hardships in making a living, if you maintain a pure and clean heart and avoid using tainted or unworthy things, if you know to stir up compassion, to care for others more than yourself, then you will purify your inner soul and return to me. Any shortcomings that remain should be corrected promptly. Do not delay or neglect them. As the way declines and virtue diminishes, with evil forces looming, you should all make a concerted effort to drive out these malevolent elements. This will be a great offer to me. I bestow my blessings upon you. Ascend. Divine Message 63. TUYện Holy See, April 16, 1929. 7th of March, Hour of the Rat. Master, my children. M.N.G. Call your brothers and sisters, because they are praying below, and it looks truly pitiful. I have clearly stated that the supreme rank must return to me before you do, but alas, due to negligence, you have not read my sacred messages to understand. T. Do you remember what I told you? The way is inherently non-action. If the supreme rank do not return to his divine position, who will guide the souls to the heavenly gate on your behalf? Moreover, you are the ones guiding all sentient beings in this world on my behalf. Similarly, in the realm of the way, there must also be a few of you who can take up this role. Laugh. T. H. You must build the tower for the supreme rank in front of the three-branched tree, with its face directed to the east, similar to looking towards the Holy See while serving me. Additionally, each tier of the tower must be covered with tiles, just like the roof of the Dongnan Temple. Do not replicate the tower of the Way Protector, as the ranks are different. Around the 8 trigrams palace, it should be made in the shape of a column, with a hole in the center of the tower to allow the sunlight to shine upon the lotus platform. You will be reprimanded by Libai. Take care to correct yourselves according to his instructions, so that it may temper his wrath a little. Ascend. Divine Message 64. January 11th, 1930. December 12th, Year of the Snake. Master, my children. I have often told you that you are the embodiment of love, yet you no longer understand what love truly is. From where does this come? T. Look into it. T. Replies, No, my child. Love is the foundation that sustains the universe. With love, humanity can achieve peace, and the universe can remain calm. Only in calmness can there be no enmity, and thus the cycle of creation and existence is maintained. Do you know who goes against the mechanism of creation? T. Look into it. T. Replies, No, my child. What you said is a lie for demons. In truth, it is about the king of demons. The king of demons is the one who brings destruction. Just as there is life from the Divine Father, there is death from the king of demons. Now consider what form the king of demons might use to harm you. T. Replies, The king of demons incites people to act without love and cause chaos among living beings. Why do you not use the word death to express this profound truth? For when there is hatred, all beings despise each other. When they despise each other, they destroy each other. And in destroying each other, it leads to the demise of the world. Therefore I command you from now on, if you do not have enough strength to love each other, then you must not harbor hatred for one another. Do you understand? Ascend. Divine Message 65. TUYện N, February 7th, 1930. January 9th, Year of the Horse. Master. My children, I am determined to use the virtue of compassion to establish the way, to save sentient beings before the end of this lower era. However, the way is not yet complete, the path is not yet fully traversed, because there are still many whose hearts do not fully believe in and follow the holy teachings. Thus, gradually, the foundation of the way is becoming fragmented and scattered. Those with virtue grow weary and step back. The sincere ones do not feel joy in joining hands. Demons and evil spirits infiltrate. The unvirtuous cling to those without kindness. Thus human virtues decline, and people continue on a path of deceit and corruption. The establishment of the way is a priceless miracle. Understanding the way, understanding oneself, understanding others, understanding the world, understanding the times, knowing honor and disgrace, knowing survival and extinction. Only then can one feel shame and remorse, realize that worldly affairs are merely games, see life as a sea of suffering, recognize that servitude leads to an insignificant existence, and understand disgrace and honor to navigate the path of advancement or retreat. How can one hope to follow the path of the immortals and emulate the Buddhas if the worldly path is still filled with so much conflict and harm to one another? The grace I have bestowed upon this world has been marred by foolish and greedy students who, in their pursuit of fame and fortune, have allowed demons to infiltrate, leading them into deep pits and abysses. Because of this, the spirit of the way must wander aimlessly for 1,000 years. I see many who are willing to sacrifice themselves for the way, abandoning worldly desires and transforming their mundane lives to become guides. But I ask, is there anyone truly worthy yet? MNG replies, alas, because of the hundreds of millions of original souls, I cannot bear to see their positions and ranks disintegrate. Otherwise, according to the laws of the divine book, no one would have a place on the golden tablet. Cultivating oneself is inherently contrary to worldly ways, yet only by opposing worldly ways can one come closer to the divine light. I see many who wish to cultivate themselves but are unwilling to abandon worldly attachments. Worldliness is a path that leads one away from divine purity. It requires strong will and determination to restrain oneself, lest the path to destruction makes one's efforts in cultivating the way in vain. They want to wear the Taoist robe, don the shoes of the way, and stand before humanity to show they are guides. They waver on the path of the immortals, have desire to enter the saint way, and yet they do not abandon the sight of falling silver. They covet gain without shame, borrowing the name of the way to build their own fame. They enter the holy palace, with the scent of corruption still lingering. They want their houses to be grand, their robes to be fine, posing as tigers to scare foxes, their bellies empty while their purses fill, attempting to be teachers to the foolish. Oh, the guise of the way, the guise of the way, how I feel sad for the naive children, who I do not know how to bring the holy teachings into their ears. I remember the old days, when those who revered the way endured countless hardships, caring for others and not considering their own hardship. They wore thorny shoes and ragged clothes, carried the moon and stars on their heads, wind seeped through thatched huts, rain destroyed makeshift shelters. Poverty was not a concern. They guided others with empty hands, with not a speck of impurity, thus establishing their position. How could one now use wealth to oppress others, or borrow power to undermine virtue, driving the sincere ones away and allowing the deceitful to infiltrate, pretending to serve the true teachings while carrying the stench of corruption? I ask, who bears witness to this? Rituals and music are incomplete. Many rely on their scholarly talents, picking up bits of books and littering them with old Confucius teachings, hoping to gain fame through debate. I now set forth the heavenly commandments to enforce the laws. Those who understand the origin must hurry to correct themselves, in hopes of avoiding the demons and walking the full path of the way. Alas, the foundation of the way is not truly broken, but today there is no way to restore it. I entrust those few, for the sake of the way and the world, to unite their minds and work together. Perhaps they can save a fraction of the people. M.N. You have permission to let brothers T.R. read my holy teachings. I tell you that if the great ceremony at the Holy See is not conducted according to the methods taught before, then know that it is only the demons witnessing it. The Divine Father advises you, step firmly on the way with a sincere heart. Avoid clinging to worldly fame and gain from the start. The humble robe, dyed with hues of hardship endured. Steer clear of entanglements. Let no grievances be secured. I bestow my blessings upon you. Ascend. Divine Message 66, April 12th, 1930, March 17th, Year of the Horse. Nan Em Dao Truong. Greetings to fellow disciples. It has been a long time since I last had the opportunity to meet with you to discuss matters of virtue. Today, I take this opportunity to commend a few virtuous individuals who have dedicated themselves to refining their divine essence. However, I am also saddened by many disciples who still focus more on worldly pursuits rather than the path of cultivation. The Supreme Being has used compassion to correct and guide us, hoping for the day when the faith will be harmonious. Therefore, let us unite our efforts to restore and guide the faith. This is the way to correct our mistakes and return to our former position. We must plan ahead. Fellow, are you now focusing extensively on national literature? Many other disciples have already studied and understood the holy teachings. Therefore, I will provide an explanation for the following classical poem. Fear not the path through mountains and streams. Seek the place where steadfast pines still gleam. An empty belly frees the crane in the wild, while a full crop traps the caged fowl beguiled. How many years has the lonely grave endured? How many lines of the face time has secured? One turn of the path leads to the next rise. Step by step, winter comes before your eyes. Many people interpret the first 4 lines, but when it comes to the historical references and paired couplets, no one fully understands. Therefore, he provides an explanation. Explanation. Lines 1 and 2. Li Bai wrote, the caged hen has full grain near the boiling pot, but the wild crane has a vast and serene heaven. In simpler terms, the caged hen has plenty of grain every day, but with a pot of boiling water always near, unaware of when it will be slaughtered. In contrast, the wild crane, though sometimes hungry, enjoys the vast, tranquil sky and flies freely. Summary. It is better to endure hardships and gain freedom than to enjoy comfort but face constant danger. The way guides one to spiritual freedom, and only by being like the wild crane can one attain such spiritual freedom. Line 3. Kofan means a desolate graveyard. Line 4. So Dien refers to a wrinkled face. The meaning explained separately. The first couplet and the second couplet, not the general meaning. Interpretation. Looking at desolate graves and cold tombs, if one seeks and questions the origins, they will find that they are the resting places of youth. This suggests that life is fleeting, like foam or clouds. If one does not strive to practice early, they may miss the opportunity to meet the way. Buddha Shakyamuni said, do not wait until old age to learn the way. The desolate graves are for the young. This means, do not wait until old age to practice the faith. Those graves are for the young who did not practice in their lifetime. Do you understand this clearly? The dong here refer to river currents. When water is disturbed by the wind, it wrinkles, much like how a person might be wrinkled by force or oppression. If one cannot escape from such oppression, their existence is at risk. The way is the means to guide people away from such oppression. Confucius' teachings have a sentence. The green mountain is not old, yet it is covered with snow. The flowing water is not sorrowful, yet it wrinkles due to the wind. This means, the mountain is not old, but appears aged due to snow, and the water is not sorrowful, but appears wrinkled due to the wind. One must seek deep understanding. The last two lines are easily understood. Therefore, fellow disciples, strive to study faith diligently. Ascend. Divine Message 67. April 21st, 1930. March 23rd. Year of the Horse. Time of the Buffalo. Master, children, T.R. I established this religion based on the heavenly decree, and also out of compassion, to save the countless millions of great original beings and return them to their former positions. I know there are true souls who have taken on a physical form to guide my children, so they do not hesitate to endure hardships, pleading with the three religions to extend their grace so I may save my children. Alas, the efforts of mine and the divine beings are immense, yet the accomplishments of each child are so few. Many times, suffering and hardships seem poised to overwhelm you, and I, your master, am deeply troubled to the point of anguish. Seeing this, I cannot bear it. I must alter the heavenly plan to grant you time and strength to guide one another in fulfilling your responsibilities. But in the end, malevolent forces still prevail, overwhelming the sacred, and worldly steps lead astray mortal souls. My heart aches greatly to witness my children in confusion, falling into the paths of delusion and wickedness. Some are distracted by material gains, others by sensual pleasures. Some are drawn to power and authority, while others fall into paths of moral decay. Each follows a different route, forsaking their spiritual essence and stumbling through various distractions. Moreover, you are being manipulated, causing discord and severing connections within the community. The strife and competition among you, like chickens fighting over scraps, prevent you from uniting and opposing the forces of evil effectively. Consequently, many are fragmented and fall into deep abysses. I had hoped that you would handle the conflicts and resist the adversities. However, according to divine revelations, most have already fallen into the clutches of dark forces. Many of you, holding high positions and responsibilities, are not fully aware of this. I must express these concerns to you, so you may rectify your actions, heal the wounds, and prevent future disciples from facing the same troubles. When evil triumphs over righteousness, it is difficult to resist. You are those I trusted from the beginning. Though there have been mistakes along the way, divine beings have guided you, enabling you to correct your course. It is unfortunate that many who have never held power, wealth, or pleasure are lured by deceptions and end up lost, with their precious spiritual essence entangled with the mundane, doomed to eternal suffering. Although faith is lofty, the strength of evil is not to be underestimated. If you do not guard against it and control the passions within, the fire of evil will consume you. Understand my words, and remember that if you do not use the power I have granted to guide and support others, you will eventually be left alone, like a solitary bird, powerless to resist the coming storm. At that point, the world will need to be reestablished, and you will have to wait for the next era to face harsh conditions. The responsibility is immense. If you cannot bear it, the spiritual path cannot be secured. B. I have bestowed upon you my grace, most deservedly so. That grace is like a shield protecting your heart. Why do you not safeguard it and honor your responsibilities, instead allowing discord to arise? The Chuangdao of HI冶has received my mandate to guide. Yet if one rises above another, the path will become even more challenging. If patience does not prevail to lead the way, it will cause resentment. And returning the role, just as Levi once did, offers little hope of continuing the journey to its end. Seeing the heavenly plan, my heart aches. These words are my final and most earnest counsel to all. Here, as well as in TUYện, you must work together to untangle these knots. Do you hear me? I bestow blessings upon you all. Ascend. Divine Message 68, May 8, 1930. May 12th, Year of the Horse. Lord NGÓN, the Saintly Emperor. Greetings, disciples. The foundation of our faith has not yet been fully established. Within, there are those who are perfecting their spiritual essence, while outside, others are calling upon divine beings to prove their profound understanding and wisdom. The tides of time have shifted, and the calamity of divine retribution draws near. From south to north, east to west, sporadic turmoil arises, eradicating those without virtue. If mortal bodies with worldly eyes are blessed with the divine light, yet fail to awaken their souls promptly, they cannot escape the judgment that awaits even the dust and ashes. Alas, the heavens, in their clarity, observe and judge, yet humanity remains in ignorance, shrouded in delusion. They wield their fragment of limited intelligence against the sacred design of creation. Those who wish to embrace the taste of the way, but persist in bargaining and negotiating, will find that, regardless of rank or status, even the boundless compassion of divine grace cannot accommodate such demands. The divine beings of the past endured hardships and dedicated themselves to achieving their esteemed positions. Are they not examples of faith and devotion worth emulating? In this illusory world, where existence and loss are like floating bubbles and drifting clouds, it is crucial to adhere to righteousness and rectify deviations, maintaining a sincere heart. Only then can you hope to escape the traps set by the evil forces vying for dominance. Arrogance and self-importance are deep pits that can engulf both body and soul. Thus, remember and internalize the following lesson. The mold of life is not easily shaped. Gray hairs still blur the path of shame and fame. A sacred gem is hard to refine to purity. Gold scales cannot crush the power of the whale. Heaven's blessings are sown, but require connection. Worldly gains should not be seized with greed. As events unfold, calamities may arise. Prepare to endure and strive in the race ahead. Disciples, particularly those heavenly ordained dignitaries, should share this teaching with sentient beings. I bestow blessings upon you all. Ascend. Divine Message 69, June 8, 1930. May 12th, Year of the Horse. Nan am Dao Trong. Rejoice, dear Dao brothers and Dao sisters. I, the humble servant, have come by the command of the Supreme Being to share a few words with my beloved Tao companions. I am deeply saddened that humanity has not yet embraced faith, and now, with divine retribution approaching, the suffering is almost overwhelming, making salvation difficult to achieve. The disasters and calamities continue to ravage the world, and it pains me greatly to see countless people floundering in the depths of despair, while the wisdom boat struggles against the waves and storms of ignorance, making it hard to rescue those who are lost. The faith stands firm in Vietnam, sheltering those who are fortunate and deserving. Yet, if people continue to neglect their spiritual development and remain rigid in their ignorance, the mortal body will ultimately be reduced to dust. I urge you to sincerely honor and revere the Supreme Being. This will lead you to a path of tranquility and warmth. Reflect on the fleeting nature of worldly troubles, compared to the eternal compassion of the Creator. The path of righteousness and virtue is illuminated, and you should strive to reach it, transcending beyond the mundane. Even if following this path requires leaving behind family and relationships, severing emotional ties, and enduring personal sacrifices, doing so to fulfill your responsibilities and save countless others is a noble and commendable act. The pain and hardships of this worldly existence pale in comparison to the divine mission. This is the way of the saints, and you should keep this in mind. I bestow blessings upon you all. Ascend. Divine Message 70, June 10th, 1930. May 5th, Year of the Horse. Levi. Greetings, disciples. Faith is not a commodity that can be offered to one person today and another tomorrow, hoping to be acknowledged by others. This approach diminishes the true essence of faith. The Supreme Being has already sown the precious seeds, and it is essential to nurture them properly. The foundation must be solid so that it can grow strong, with branches, leaves, and flowers flourishing, eventually bearing abundant fruit. When the fragrance and beauty of the flowers and fruits become evident, people from afar will come to benefit from this precious gift. There is no need to demean faith by lowering its value for immediate recognition. Disciples should follow the straight path and focus on their own responsibilities. Everything will be arranged according to the Supreme Being's will. T5. Dear friend, do you understand now? There have already been many mistakes. The name of the way has been sold once before. You must strive to redeem it. The Holy See is the root and source. When it stands tall and firmly established in this western region, which will be the day they come to seek you, be mindful and act accordingly. Ascend. Divine Message 71, Holy See, December 24th, 1930, Year of the Horse. The Third Amnesty of God, His Holiness Pope Lepi. Rejoice, dear virtuous brothers and sisters. I have carried deep affection for all you virtuous brothers and sisters. I have stood outside the realm of worldly affairs for a long time, and so I often hesitate, seeking to understand the reasoning and wisdom of each individual. Oh, it is truly challenging. Earlier I saw such a large gathering of the children of the Supreme Being. If only this were enough to represent the entirety of Vietnam. But imagine, one day, when the way has been propagated throughout all humanity, spreading across the 5 continents, what will it be like then? Ah, how burdensome this responsibility is, for I have already pledged to the Compassionate One to offer salvation. As elder brothers, you may use authority to guide, encourage, or even discipline your younger siblings, but you must also strive to understand each one's heart. My greatest concern is my inability to draw close to those of deceitful hearts and guide them. Drawing near to the virtuous and sincere is easy, but it does not serve much purpose. The soul of the saintly already holds the position of the divine. Even without refinement, it retains its natural beauty. Those who bear this natural beauty yet remain untainted, despite carrying the burden of mortality in this realm of suffering, have already achieved their position and need no further support. Therefore I have come not to gather the virtuous, but to plant the seed of holiness in the hearts of the deceitful, hoping it may bloom and bear fruit, inspiring them to turn back toward the righteous path. My purpose is not to greet the virtue at the gate. We, including myself and you, are tasked with creating and refining the world. We must understand our responsibilities to maintain peace and stability. There will be difficulties, but where there are challenges, there will also be solutions. Look at the trials and tribulations of the first year of establishing the way. I am aware of these hardships and cannot remain passive. I am committed to sharing these burdens with you all. I am not afraid, as no worldly power can affect me, but I am concerned for you, my friends, who bear the weight of worldly troubles and are subjected to oppressive forces. Can anyone truly foresee such trials and avoid them? I believe that my role is to wield divine insight instead of merely relying on human wisdom, to help you overcome the challenges of this founding period of the way. This is how I can prove my worth. I hold a deep bond with a divine companion, having embraced the task of establishing the way to save humanity, even if it means enduring the suffering of the earthly realm. I must say that divine rewards and punishments often contradict human understanding. Sometimes, what appears as a reward may be a punishment in disguise, and vice versa. Thus, the rewards and punishments I administer based on divine teachings may not always align with human reasoning. Be cautious and avoid rash judgments, as they may lead to undeserved spiritual consequences. Ascend. Divine Message 72, February 9th, Year of THÁNH, April 26, 1931. Jade Emperor, Supreme God, known as Caodai. Greetings, disciples. T.R. The wavering of the way is also part of the heavenly plan. Just as a nation experiences order and chaos, and life undergoes rise and decline, so too must the way pass through twists and turns before reaching the clear, straight path that establishes its true form. I have established the way for humanity, but worldly people, still clouded by ignorance, cling to fame, grasp at profit, and seek power and rank. In doing so, they cast themselves into the abyss. The divine balance will ultimately weigh their deeds, and it is through such sins that they will come to understand the true worth of things when the final judgment arrives. You must maintain your uprightness and walk the full path of the way. This is what it means to know the heavenly mandate. The painful transformations in the world arise from the decrees of the heavenly plan. Fortune and misfortune, success and failure, know that I and the way are always present. With a joyful and virtuous heart, even your smallest concerns will be known to the divine realm. Do not let your heart waver or your mind become unsettled, lost in worldly emotions, for only when your mind is calm and clear can you prevent deceptive forces from infiltrating and causing disruption. This is my earnest reminder. If you do not take it to heart, you will not escape the suffering that may come. Understand this well. D has come to hear the teachings, to listen and seek understanding. Poem. The way of righteousness stands firm as it should. Guard all living beings, steadfast and good. Life's toil is not easily pursued. Raise the world by nurturing virtues renewed. The lone crane finds joy in a quiet retreat. The boat still waits for the pine branch to meet. The severed thread, do not attempt to mend. Focus on virtue and return to your destined end. When the past karma has been fully repaid, the path of virtue becomes the ladder guiding one back to their original rank and former station. To know the heavenly mandate, to know oneself, and to know humanity, that is to seek the bright torch of noble principles, lifting oneself out of the sea of suffering. Ascend. Divine Message 73, August 1st, 1931, Year of the Goat. The Third Amnesty of God. His Holiness Pope Lifizi. Apanakya. Greetings. THRNH. Today, I have relinquished half of my authority to you, intending to observe whether you fulfill your duties appropriately. I have humbled myself, set aside the power of the First Lord, and assumed the role of the Pope to establish the position, paving the way for my younger disciples to advance. I have often witnessed the challenges and difficulties associated with this responsibility. Thus, I have stirred disorder to distinguish the righteous from the unrighteous, providing guidance for the sacerdotal council to address and eliminate these issues. I have kept a close eye on the earthly sense of justice among you, virtuous companions, within the court of the three religions. Moreover, I have applied divine justice to offer each transgressor an opportunity to correct themselves. This reflects the compassion of the Supreme Being. Otherwise, I would have already intervened to expel everyone. Do not mistakenly think that the wavering of the way compels me to conform to worldly practices. This is my declared promise. Let me see how you fulfill your responsibilities. NGTRTH. I extend my praise to you. The rise or fall of the way lies in your hands. You must take care to preserve it. I am within you, and you are within me. Whether I can use my authority to realign the heavenly plan depends entirely on you. Respect the command. The Supreme Being offers His blessings to you. THTTH, I am pleased with you. I have committed to the Supreme Being to establish a position worthy of its value, and so you must also dedicate yourself wholeheartedly alongside me. Now that you have assumed authority, you must conduct yourself with the dignity befitting one who holds the responsibility for the lives of humanity. No earthly throne of kingship can compare to the sacred ranks of the divine. Be mindful to discern what is noble from what is base, and to preserve order, lest deceitful intentions cause disruption. Do you understand? I have yet to see anyone wholeheartedly dedicate themselves to elevating the prestige of the way, while there are far too many who work to destroy it. You must strive with me to eliminate deceit and eradicate falsehoods, lest the prophecy I have heard come to pass. You must unite with all the great heavenly ordained dignitaries to restore order. Otherwise, I will categorically refuse any promotions for anyone. You must understand that in this battle of wit and wisdom, victory is impossible without exceptional skill and valor. Having taken on the heavy responsibility of teaching and guiding others, you must instruct humanity to discern righteousness and falsehood as part of their salvation. Meanwhile, the schemes of demons and malicious spirits are my way of distinguishing truth from falsehood, gold from dross, and the worthy from the unworthy. Should you lend your ear to deceitful words, you will become a weapon for these forces to harm the way. Do you hear me? Ascend. Divine Message 74, TUYện NN, December 23, 1931. Master, my children, I am pleased to meet all of you today to attend to me. You need to heed these important instructions and fulfill your duties diligently with Libai. You must remember that the entire cosmos consists of only two powers. Above, the authority of the Supreme Being, and below, the authority of living beings. I have already established my visible form, which is the sacerdotal council of the Great Way today, and I must grant the full extent of my authority to that visible form, so that it may fully carry out its mission of salvation for all beings. As for all of you, you stand among the ranks of humanity, under the transformative authority of the world. This means that all of humanity shares authority with me. Since all creation, all sentient beings, are my children, they too have the potential to ascend and attain positions among the deities, saints, immortals, and Buddhas. Within that authority there exist many ranks, enabling beings to transcend the limitations of humanity. Thus, humans hold dominion over all sentient beings. I clarify, my supreme authority resides in me, and the authority of sentient beings belongs to all living beings. The day when my supreme authority unites with the authority of sentient beings will be the day the way manifests its true form. I have bestowed my supreme authority upon two individuals leading the sacerdotal council, the Pope and the Dharma protector. My supreme authority is fully realized when the Pope and the Dharma protector are united. Meanwhile, humanity wields the authority of sentient beings. The only force that can balance my supreme authority is the authority of sentient beings. Libai often reproaches you. When he and the Dharma protector have jointly issued a decree, you disregard and undermine it. Therefore, from now on, any directive issued jointly by the two must be thoroughly reviewed by the congregation, the sacerdotal council, and the high council to ensure clarity and precision before implementation. Libai has promised me that after the inauguration of the women branch at the three-religion court, he will confer sainthood upon more individuals. You must endeavor to follow his guidance. I grant blessings to all of you. Ascend. Divine Message 75. Cambodia Temple, February 14th. Year of the Monkey, March 20th, 1932. Viet Tam Chon Nguyen. I, the humble servant, greet the acting Pope, the Dharma protector, the Teep Dao, and the sacerdotal council of external affairs. To the male and female heavenly appointees, please listen. The kingdom of heaven has few dwellers, while the gates of hell are crowded with many. Never have I seen any individual who, while neglecting their own worth and failing to contribute to the mechanism of creation, could attain the rank of deity, saint, immortal, or Buddha. These sacred positions are not achieved through mere chance or luck. When I was commanded to take the role of Chuangdao and establish the sacerdotal council for teaching the way in distant lands, I followed the compassionate heart of the Supreme Being, creating opportunities for humanity to exchange effort for rank. I did not distinguish between original spirits, transformed spirits, or even demonic spirits. If they knew how to cultivate merit, they could achieve the way. I allowed each individual the freedom to determine their destiny, adapting to their difficulties to build their merits. Thus, by the law of fairness, success leads to acceptance and failure leads to rejection. I have seen far too many who lack the ability to succeed. Therefore, I issued this decree. Each heavenly appointee must examine themselves and confess their shortcomings to the Pope and the Dharma protector. Only then will rewards and punishments be clearly determined. Ascend. Divine Message 76. The TUYển N Holy, c. October 1932. The eighth female immortal of the Jasper Pond Palace. Explanation of the yin energy. The yin energy is the primordial, chaotic essence that existed before the Supreme Being began creation. This layer of yin energy is stored in the Jasper Pond Palace as the essence that gives rise to all things, comparable to how the fertile essence of a woman contains the eggs for human procreation. When the Supreme Being uses yang light to warm and vitalize, this yin energy transforms into the essence that fosters life, while the remaining yin energy recedes and becomes the creation mechanism of all beings. However, this yin energy has its limits. In places where the divine light of the Supreme Being has yet to shine, there remains darkness, devoid of life or transformation. This absence of divine light is called yin energy, synonymous with the shadowy realm or hell. This realm, referred to in traditional faiths as a place of punishment, is where rootless and directionless souls, bound by karma and trapped in cycles of reincarnation, reside. The term yin energy aims to replace the notions of the netherworld court propagated by superstition. In truth, it is a transitional realm where souls resolve their attachments and prepare their minds, a space between heaven and hell, neither completely dark nor entirely illuminated. It serves as a checkpoint, and all souls passing to the celestial realms must cross it. The difficulty of escaping this realm is one of the greatest fears of any soul. Nevertheless, any residual spiritual aspiration left in one's physical body can motivate individuals to practice and cultivate virtue to avoid such a fate. Many souls are unable to cross this realm, remaining trapped for centuries, sometimes for thousands of years, depending on the purity or impurity of their spirit. The Supreme Being commands strict vegetarianism, partly because of this transitional checkpoint. I speak honestly, and if you understand, you will feel profound fear. If your spiritual essence remains impure, returning to the celestial realms and reuniting with the Supreme Being will be incredibly difficult. I know of many souls that have lingered in this realm for over 1,000 years, unable to transcend. The seventh female immortal remains there, teaching and supporting these souls. Even those lost in reincarnation and degradation find her guidance. Reflect and verify if this is true. Ascend. Divine Message 77. THÁNH Ninh, Pham Moon, February 12, 1933. The 29th of December, Year of the Rooster, the 8th female immortal. Blessings and well wishes. Rejoice to see each helping hand unite. Rejoice, the way now blooms in colors bright. Rejoice, the sacred soul gains strength anew. Rejoice, the truth ascends to heights in view. Rejoice, humanity stays firm on the path. Rejoice, the soul remains untouched by wrath. Rejoice, the way uplifts the world today. Rejoice, the sacred way grows pure, its ray. I am at ease, for from now on, I have witnessed the conclusion predetermined by the Supreme Being. I recall that when the Jade Void Palace assigned the Heavenly Union Palace the authority over humanity's destiny to establish the true religion, the great compassionate Father then shifted this authority to the 9-tiered palace. This unusual event astonished all the deities, saints, immortals, and Buddhas in the Jade Void Palace. The great compassionate Father proclaimed, "Indeed, indeed, it is not fitting to leave this role to the lowly. In time, the sacred intention behind this decision will become clear." The 6th female immortal. Greetings, elder brothers. I am currently in the Ingu Quan Palace. The 8th female immortal informed me that you are upholding righteousness, so I hurriedly came to attend. Earlier today, I received good news. The Jade Void Palace is undertaking a transformation of the divine law. The entire heavenly plan has been dismantled and reformed to restore the true doctrine. The deities, saints, immortals, and Buddhas are filled with measurable joy, and the Divine Mother is deeply pleased. However, amidst this joy, she was moved to tears and composed the following lament. The mother's breast still nourishes the young. The task of salvation remains yet undone. High power as Dharma protector brings great pride, but humble duties in heavenly union must still abide. The holy heart fades, tainted by worldly trials, its fresh radiance dulled by earthly wiles. Better to guard the old ways than stray today. A mother's heart hesitates. Oh, my child, I pray. Oh, second brother. The poem has moved the entire Dutri palace to tears. You should take it as a guiding principle for constancy of heart, ensuring that your steps toward the sacred glory of the divine do not stray. Brother Q-U-T-H, NGÓN Yin instructs you to remain patient and wait for her assistance. Ascend. Divine Message 78. March 17th, Year of the Rooster, 1933. Ever-abiding NGÓN Yin Tathagata of the Southern Sea. Greetings to you all, my dear siblings. Listen closely. The way is precious because of harmony. Consider this. The creation of heaven and earth, the formation of all things, is due to the union of yin and yang which generates life. Harmony is the foundation of all creations. Even within the human body, with its organs and systems, if harmony is lost, life itself cannot be sustained. When the mind and soul are in disharmony, the 7 emotions and 6 desires arise, competing with the conscience for dominance. If the conscience lacks strength, that person will live entirely within material desires, unaware of the heavenly principles. Reflecting on the value and dignity of such a person, how low it is to lack harmony. When a family lacks harmony, fathers and children quarrel, spouses separate, and siblings drift apart. When morality lacks harmony, communities fall into disorder. When a nation lacks harmony, chaos and division arise. When the world lacks harmony, humanity is consumed by conflict. Thus, I urge you all to make harmony your foremost priority. Ascend. Divine Message 79, April 21st, 1933. Year of the Rooster. Ever-abiding NGÓN Yin Tathagata of the Southern Sea. I greet you, my dear siblings. Do you understand why it is necessary to extend love to encompass compassion? It is because all beings are created by the compassionate Supreme Being, and thus all beings are one in essence. The life-giving nature of the great compassionate Father is boundless and infinite. Since we are but one species among all beings, we too exist within this law of creation. Therefore, taking a single life pains the heart of the great compassionate Father, and when his heart is grieved, heaven mourns and earth laments. Consider this. Would ordinary people dare to offend the majesty of heaven? From this it becomes clear. We must open our hearts with compassion and extend our love to the weakest of beings. Firstly, this spares us from falling into the law of karmic retribution, for the divine laws of heaven show no favoritism. Although our mortal eyes cannot perceive it, even the smallest good or evil deed does not go unnoticed. You may recall the saying, "The divine net is vast, yet nothing escapes its mesh." Secondly, those born into this world are endowed by the great compassionate Father with a divine nature that surpasses all other beings. This is intended so that we may serve as His representatives, guiding and protecting the weaker creatures. Reflect on this. In worldly life, if an earthly father has an unfilial child, would he not feel sorrow? And what about the great compassionate Father, How would he feel if his children lack compassion? Can anyone justify going against the will of heaven, which is the will of our great Divine Father? Ascend. Divine Message 80, May 8, 1933. Year of the Rooster. With radiant light, set steadfast hearts in line. Cultivate hidden virtues. Let the way shine. The willow bends, yet life transforms its form. Achieving golden essence, eternal life is born. Greetings, dear siblings. You must make regular offerings and worship. First, to train your perispirit to draw closer to the divine beings, allowing it to shine brightly. Second, to pray to the great compassionate Father for forgiveness for your sins and those of all beings. Third, during worship, your heart must experience a sense of devotion. When there is devotion, there will be a response. This is a natural law. Fourth, when your heart feels devotion, compassion will naturally expand, and, above all, your moral sense and innate capacity will gradually develop into wisdom. Remember this well. As for the work of universal salvation, do not rush excessively, but also do not become overly idle. Each of you must dedicate your heart to this task, for only then can it move the great compassionate Father. When your heart is devoted, success will follow. Even small tasks in this world require such dedication, let alone the great way, which seeks to rescue all beings drowning in the sea of suffering and samsara. If you follow my words diligently, you will one day attain true glory. Such honor cannot be found in the worldly realm. Ascend. Divine Message 81, April 3rd, Year of the Rooster, May 26, 1933, 12:35 a.m. Chongdong Yetam, Victor Hugo. Greetings to the Supreme Heavenly Appointees, virtuous brothers and sisters. The establishment of laws is based on their practical application, requiring collective effort and wisdom to create a grand foundation of mutual love and harmony between East and West. For this reason, the laws have various specific aspects tailored to their respective purposes. No single aspect of the law can be substituted or applied indiscriminately to another domain of action. When necessary, laws are established. When unnecessary, they are abolished. The laws created by the Supreme Being are essential for the functioning of His sacred governance. Not a single part of these laws may be discarded. Adherence leads to the prosperity of the way, while opposition brings its downfall. No member of the sacerdotal council has the authority to act outside these laws. Following them is the key to achieving the rightful authority of the council, while disobedience disrupts the true doctrine. Those who defy civil law commit crimes punishable by expulsion from society or even elimination to prevent further harm. Similarly, those who defy religious law commit offenses that may result in expulsion from the sacred body of the Supreme Being or, ultimately, divine retribution. From now on, we must regard those who violate the laws as enemies of the way and take measures to eliminate their harmful influence. I have received directives from the Jade Void Palace to revise and uphold the laws, leaving no room for tolerance of violations. Henceforth, the Missionary Sacerdotal Council will strictly enforce the laws. I earnestly request that the Pope and the Dharma Protector also focus their efforts on eliminating harmful elements, setting aside personal considerations of compassion or mercy. Ascend. Divine Message 82, April 9, 1934, Year of the Dog, the seventh female immortal of Duatry Palace. What a pity! I had asked beforehand to gather everyone together, hoping to meet with many sisters, but delays in the spirit summoning ritual prevented me from doing so. Most concerning is that the name of the Duatry Palace has been misused elsewhere to deceive humanity. This harm, especially in terms of faith, is significant. If the corruption stemmed from malevolent forces, some of you could remove it. However, since it originates from spirit mediums, it is beyond your power to resolve the harm caused to the superstitious. To my dear sisters, I must remind you of this. At the recent Jade Void Assembly to address the reception of the Dharma from the Western Paradise, I heard and witnessed Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva lamenting that, as a Buddha, it is difficult for him to approach and guide female souls to escape the path of delusion. Because of this, in the realm of yin energy, female souls endure significantly more suffering than their male counterparts. I also heard him express a wish. If only there were a female immortal willing to take on the responsibility of aiding and saving the wandering souls in hell, only then could they hope to fully escape reincarnation. I was deeply moved and resolved to devote both my love and compassion to this task. I have seen countless unjust sufferings, and many souls endure extraordinary torment for offenses that are not severe. Therefore, I have devised various means to help souls more easily avoid the gates of the realm of the yin energy, where punishments are meted out. Let me first explain what yin energy is, so you can understand. Yin energy is the realm that, in Spiritism, is known as the Truong Din, the space where souls either dissolve or reincarnate. The Great Divine Father has designated this place as the House of Tranquility, where souls are sent to reflect and evaluate the blessings and sins accumulated during their lifetime. It is essentially a place of self-reflection. If humanity were to reflect upon themselves while still alive, they would naturally avoid yin energy, even for those who have committed many sins in their lifetime. A final moment of repentance and a sincere plea for the Supreme Being's forgiveness can save them from the gates of the realm of yin energy. Such souls may even receive abundant blessings, either through their own self-realization or through the prayers of their descendants. Alas, despite the Great Divine Father's immense mercy, I still witness countless souls falling into degradation, an unceasing sight every day. This is due to a lack of faith and trust in the Father, leading many believers and followers to break their vows. Witnessing this fills my heart with sorrow, and it is particularly distressing that the majority of these souls are women. Ascend. Divine Message 83, July 20th, 1934. Master, my children, in the past there was ignorance, and those assisting with spirit summoning did not have the spiritual capacity that you now possess. Back then, it was very difficult to receive even a few words from the departed through spirit writing. If the medium was in a state of true unconsciousness, the resulting messages could sometimes be profound, but once the session ended, their spirit would become weakened. If unconscious mediums were used, how could the way ever be widely propagated? Question regarding spirit possession. Your Pia spirits become uneasy when encountering negative energy. For this reason, I send down an abundance of divine energy to shield you from malevolent forces. Occasionally, possession occurs because of the intensity of the divine energy transmitted. This is also why spiritual possession occurs during oath-taking ceremonies. Master, my children. I praise the spiritual devotion of you two. Initially, I instructed you to focus on healing illnesses within the community of believers only, as I wanted to observe how you would handle interactions with the broader population. I am fully aware of the compassion in your heart, which aligns closely with the life-giving nature of creation. Not only should you assist those outside the way, but you must also save those who oppose you when they are in peril. Ascend. Divine Message 84, July 16th, Year of the Dog, 1934. Caodai Pham. When I was still in the mortal realm, my anger was so intense that, had I been granted a spiritual position immediately, I might have used my fan to sweep them all into hell without sparing a single soul. However, upon shedding my mortal body and gaining the clarity of divine sight, I was filled with compassion and sorrow. I came to fear for those who stray from the path and lose their way, for such a loss would mean the deprivation of a most precious divine companion. Thus, I resolved to guide them, accommodating their mortal inclinations, whether lofty or lowly, and gradually correct their steps, saving them one phase at a time. If, unfortunately, I could not lead them to salvation, I would dedicate myself fully to ensuring they do not fall into hell, pleading with the three-religion court to grant them a chance to reincarnate and redeem their karmic debts. In this light, would you let minor, petty concerns distract you while watching the way falter? Responsibility is responsibility. Personal matters are trivial. Only by understanding the root and essence of the way can we escape worldly entanglements. Divine beings have often said, mundane pursuits of fame and fortune are insignificant, while the honor of the way is paramount. Treat all equally, regardless of their names or status, even if it means bearing sacrifices to fulfill your duty. The delays in advancing the way, as seen now, are due to our own mortal failings. Do you think the Supreme Being labored to establish the way for us to falter in saving humanity? This negligence arises from our worldly desires. You must focus on relieving the suffering of others, not creating it. Life's journey is like a river of illusion. Freeing oneself from illusion is to free oneself from suffering. Why would anyone burden themselves with chains that torment the mind and exhaust the spirit? Would such a wasted life indeed be lamentable? Ascend. Divine Message 85, July 16th, Year of the Dog, 1934. The Supreme Taoist Patriarch. Greetings, virtuous brothers and sisters. Laugh. Perhaps you are surprised by my sudden arrival, as you had not anticipated it. MNG responds. Indeed, as you say, because Thuong Pham mentioned beforehand that the Supreme Being would provide teachings. The Supreme Being has entrusted me to reveal a few profound mysteries to guide your steps in this tumultuous time for the way. MNG. Do you recall the explanations I have given before, using various methods and different terminologies to lead and guide you? The divine mechanism is wondrous in the eyes of the world, but the heavenly plan for the way is even more mysterious and profound, beyond what mortal minds, no matter how brilliant, can fully comprehend. The roles assigned by the Supreme Being on the stage of the way are no different from the responsibilities undertaken by sages of old who guided humanity. To remain calm, focused, and temper the fires of the heart, one must possess boundless determination and an expansive spirit. Only then can one avoid resentment toward the intricate and heavy trials enacted by divine decree. Know this. Every event has its limits and origins. even for its predecessors. Judging them through the lens of virtue is the only way to understand the Supreme Being's magnificent and intricate plan. In the past, the Emperor Gaozu of Han was far from being a virtuous ruler, yet the divine mechanism allowed the Han dynasty to rule for 300 years. Despite his jealousy of the talented, his failure to complete what he began, and his readiness to heed slander and punish the innocent, without the wisdom of Zhang Liang, how could he have escaped resentment? Wu Zetian's excesses, Emperor Yang of Sui's immorality, Shang Yu's cruelty, and Qin Shi Huang's tyranny, all these rulers were flawed. Yet the divine mechanism chose to sustain their reigns for a time, even if their advisors and loyal officials were mistreated. Laughter. The world is as it is, and so is the way. Everything has its measures and limits. Those entrusted with the weight of national and spiritual responsibilities must fulfill their duties. The extent of their contributions is recorded in the celestial court, not judged by the gratitude of earthly rulers. Alas, anger often destroys the achievements of the past, leaving no trace of greatness. You judge people's actions without understanding the Supreme Being's divine plan. You perceive prosperity and decline, but fail to contribute to the cultivation of the times to guide humanity towards salvation. I ask you all, have any of you endured hardship, toiled under the stars, and sacrificed everything for humanity's happiness? T.D. responds. Laughter. Compared to the sages of the past, you are far from their example. If the Supreme Being had not established the Great Way early, waiting for a few more decades would mean many of the current souls in key positions would have undergone countless reincarnations. Time is fleeting, and humanity is lost, uncertain of which way to turn, wasting their lives in idle talk and laughter. M.N.G. Dear friend, do you understand the ultimate destination of the final days? Most likely you do not. Yet, as a divine dignitary, I ask you to devote your heart and mind to humanity. Are you willing to do so? M.N.G. responds. Laughter. Responsibility is responsibility. No matter how much is done, it always feels insufficient. No matter how early it is, it always feels late. Early or late depends on the unsettled heart. The Supreme Being, out of love for His children, has adjusted the path. Will you not, in turn, expand your heart and mind out of love and respect for Him? Good and evil laughed. I speak truthfully, yet even I dare not make final judgments. Misfortune often brings hidden blessings, and fortune is often laced with misfortune. The critical point is simply to act. If one were to debate good and evil, no one with mortal eyes could ever claim themselves fully righteous. Evil, at times, is utilized by the heavenly plan, as a test by the three religions court, or as a trial imposed by malicious spirits. Each act of evil has its cause, and over time, divine transformation will yield its outcomes. Ultimately, everything returns to the Supreme Being through sincerity and the merits achieved for humanity. The Great Way is now divided into 3 regions, as I have mentioned before. M.N.G. Dear friend, where do you wish to establish your service, the Holy See, Trung Wang, or Southern Region? M.N.G. responds, at the Holy See. The Holy See is the root of the way. If you wish to serve there, as instructed by the Supreme Being, then act accordingly. The methods and strategies should adapt to the circumstances. That is the unique responsibility of each dignitary. I cannot dictate it for you, but if you delay, will it not be too late? You should reflect. The world is one thing, the way another. Errors and burdens that we create bring suffering upon ourselves, yet their causes remain obscure. With mortal eyes and worldly minds, they are difficult to discern. Therefore, consider deeply and act wisely. Ascend. Divine Message 86. The Dharma Protector Palace, October 18th, Year of the Pig, November 13th, 1935. Libai. I greet the Dharma Protector, the dignitaries of the Heavenly Union Palace, the Nine-Tiered Palace, and the Missionary Sacerdotal Council. Let Cao Tuong Pham hold the planchette released. Since I have come to the Dharma Protector's residence, formalities are unnecessary. Everyone may remain standing. Dharma Protector, it has been a long time since I last visited to converse. Firstly, because there was no spirit writing session, and secondly, because the heavenly plan has been undergoing transformations, making any visit for me fruitless. Today, due to the great ritual of the way, I have come to offer congratulations to the virtuous brothers and sisters. I wish to express gratitude to the Dharma Protector for enduring countless hardships and struggles, which have now brought the way into its true form. However, I feel a sense of shame for not having contributed more to this effort. I offer heartfelt thanks, many thanks. The Dharma Protector responds. Laughter. I do not need to elaborate, as it is already evident. Since the beginning, even if I had wanted the way to progress, there would have been no means to accomplish it within a sacerdotal council that was more nominal than real. Is that not the case? Fortunately, the heavenly plan has now solidified without disruption or obstacles. Therefore, moving forward, I may have the means to assume authority over worldly governance. The Dharma Protector responds, the heavenly plan has shifted, and I, your disciple, am prepared to relinquish the authority of the acting Pope to you, so that you may fully wield this power and firmly uphold the heavenly plan. Laughter. I hesitate for two reasons. First, what I have given, it would not be proper to take back. Second, enforcing the law is easy, but carrying out judgments is difficult. Without the authority to govern the world in my hands, how could the Dharma Protector effectively manage the sacerdotal council? Therefore, let it remain as it is. Now, listen to this poem and seek to understand. Hear this poem and understand. From this point, Prajna boat steadies the helm, crossing the sea of suffering, saving lives. Firm oars free souls from pain through insight. Cutting the waters, grievances swept aside. With sails fully spread, I steer the course. Trusting in celestial beings brings reassurance and force. Through countless tempests, the trials have been endured. Cast down the demon, the underworld secured. Ascend.